Okay, digital imaging. So we're going to be using the pen tool, the pencil tool, and the brush tool. So we had our tutorial using the pen tools. Some of this is going to be things that you've already done before. So there's a few different sections that I want you to practice with. There's this one here with the pen tool, pencil tool, and the brush tool here. What you're going to do in the end is you're going to put yours up here at the top of this document here. So first things first is I'm going to grab my pen tool, and remember that the pen tool has multiple different options for it. The pen tool makes shapes by making anchors and paths. So this one is pretty straightforward. I'm going to go here, 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 and here like that. I'm going to swap my fill and my stroke to this, and then I'm going to change my stroke color and just make it a little bit brighter so it's a little bit easier to see. And then I can increase my stroke here like that. Okay, I'm going to grab my pen tool again, and we're just kind of practicing making some different shapes and stuff like that here. So I'm going down like this here and there like that. Okay, you could give this a fill if you want, so maybe I want to give this kind of like a yellow fill. Okay, now the next tool that we're going to be using the pencil tool, and the pencil tool works a little bit different than the pen tool. What the pencil tool does is it creates lines by drawing it, and the pencil tool works. You can use it with the mouse pretty well, but it works best with a with a tablet. But that's okay. We'll start with that, and I'll show you some other things that you can do with that. So with the pencil tool, when you draw that, and I draw this, it does kind of smooth it out, and you'll notice that when I make that line, it creates different anchor points. So it's kind of hard to see with this color here, but here you can see it's making anchor points. And then just like before, if you click once on the anchor point and click and drag with your direct selection tool, you can adjust that line here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, and you can, with the pencil tool, when you start, you can go in one motion all the way around, although on something like this it might be kind of hard. So what you can do is if you pick up where you left off and start off where you did with that anchor point, it'll continue that line, and it'll all be one continuous shape. If you do this and the line isn't connecting, what you can do is you can use your direct selection tool, and you can join those paths like we did before here. Okay, so I'm just going all the way around. If something kind of messes up, it's not the end of the world. What I can do is I'm going to go back with my direct selection tool. Then I'm going to go back where I ended, and then if you notice, it's hard to see, but there's this little circle here right next to my pencil icon. That's telling me that I'm going to complete that path and make that one solid path here. So what I can do is now I've got my path here, I can kind of adjust this. So if I want to click and drag, I can click and drag and kind of pull these anchor points and get it to kind of go where I want it to go. I can also grab some of these handles. The other cool thing about the pencil tool is if I hold down, there's also the smooth tool. So I've got my line selected, and what I can do with the smooth tool is I can just kind of smooth out some of those lines. So what you're doing is you're kind of guiding it and telling Illustrator like where you want it to smooth out, and it'll kind of adjust that here. So if I kind of bring this up here, it's going to kind of bring it up like that. It's going to kind of smooth this out, and if you notice, it's getting rid of some of those anchor points and making it a little bit cleaner here. Okay, it works if your line is like kind of shaky. It'll kind of smooth that line out. Okay, I can grab this here and do that, and then I could bring this down like that, and then go back to my smooth tool and kind of clean that up here. Sometimes you have to do it a few times to kind of clean it up here, and I'll clean this line up here too. Okay, so a lot of times I'll use the smooth tool in combination with the brush tool or with my pencil tool, and sometimes I'll even use it with my anchor point tool. Okay, and then I'm going to smooth this out one last time here. Okay, Now the next thing I'm going to do, and this is some more pencil tool practice here, just kind of practicing making some lines here. And you can go all the way around or make a perfect circle. Okay, and again you can kind of clean that up here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time cleaning it up, but I can kind of clean this up here like that. Okay. The next tool I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to, I'm actually going to come back to this one at the very end. Let's do it now. I'm going to grab my brush tool. So my brush tool is over here. I'm going to grab the paintbrush tool. So just like the gradient tool, the brush tool also has brushes over here on the right hand side. So there's my brushes palette. Remember, if you can't find something, you can always go up to Window, and then it's in alphabetical order, and here's my brushes here. So with my brushes, there are some default brushes up here at the top. Let me just grab one of those, kind of show you what it does. So the brush tool works like the pencil tool, but when I paint with it, it'll apply that brush to my line here. So if I want to give this kind of like this shaky line, I can do that. I can increase the stroke of my line like that. You also have a brush library too. So if I go down here and go to brushes, there's like artistic brushes. These are some of the brushes that I like calligraphic brushes are nice here. I can click and drag and put this inside here like that, and I can grab this. So you can play around with some of these different brushes. I'm just going to grab maybe grab this oval brush. I can increase the size of my brush by using my bracket keys. So my left bracket key will make my brush a bit smaller. My right bracket key will make my brush a little bit bigger here. So I'm going to go and paint with this like that, like this. If I wanted to go back in and maybe I want to make this line like a little bit bigger, I can. Okay. If you want to adjust some of these, like if I want to grab this line and make it a little bit bigger, I can increase my stroke. I can also apply a different brush to it, which will have a different effect. What I can also do is I can also apply like some of these different profiles here to the brush. And if this was on like a default brush, it'll change some of the characteristics of that brush as well. It's not changing it too much because I have some of these other different brushes on here. But that's another way where you can alter a brush and make it look different here. Okay. Again, what you can also do with this too is if like I want to kind of change this, kind of bring this over here a little bit, I can do that. I can grab this, bring that over, grab this and bring this over. I can also use my smooth tool on this too. So if I want to smooth this out, I can smooth that out. I can grab this line and grab my smooth tool and smooth that out as well. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some more practice with the pen tool, but I also want to show you some other things that you can use with the pen tool. So you can start wherever you want. I'm going to start here at this point, and I'm going to click and make my first anchor point. Now what I want to do is I want to make a straight line, so I could try to line this up. The other thing I can also do is I can hold my shift key and that'll make a straight line. So I'm going to start here, and then this line is straight, so I'm going to hold my shift key and that'll make a straight line. And now same thing as before, I'm going in and I'm making my anchor points, and I'm going to make this line a little bit messed up here because I want to show you how you can fix some things later on here. And I'll go and I'm going to come around here. You've had a little bit of practice with the pen tool. Oops, I'm stepping backwards because I'm kind of messing some stuff up here. Holding my shift key for this line, shift, 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 shift. Okay. One thing I can use with the pen tool is I can use this anchor point tool, and with my line selected I can select an anchor point and then I can adjust that line by grabbing onto my handles here. Okay, so I can also pull this out here. I can select this other anchor. Whoops. I can select this other anchor point and click and pull this out a little bit. Kind of grab that. So if you have some things that where you kind of need to adjust it, so I can click and grab and pull this out too, like that. I can grab this handle and adjust it. I can click and drag and pull this handle out. So it gives you a lot more control, and you can make some like minor adjustments here to make things look a lot better here. Okay. Again, what I can also do with this, if I want to smooth some of this out, I can always grab my smooth tool, kind of smooth this out too, like that. I can smooth this part out here like that. Okay. And then, so what I also need to do is make this middle part. So I'm going to grab my pen tool again. This is going to be a little bit easier. I'm going to go here, hold my shift key, come down like that, come down like that. And then I'm holding shift and completing that path. And then I'm just going to grab my smooth tool and kind of smooth this part out a little bit. So when you're drawing stuff, you can use a combination of different tools to kind of get the desired effect that you want. Okay. All right. So last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this in with red, and now I've got that shape that I made. But what I need to do is cut this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Arrange, and I'm going to go to Send to Back. Whoops. And then I'm going to grab my other shape here, and I'm just going to change the color so you can see what's happening. So I'm going to select both of these, and then remember we use the Pathfinder tool, so I'm going to go back to my Pathfinder tool. I'm going to cut that shape out. So I can use my exclude option or my minus front and cut that out like that. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pencil tool, and I can use my pencil tool to draw all these lines here. I'm going to go kind of quick here so that this bell doesn't ring again. And my lines aren't filling in, so I want to make sure that I've got a line selected here so that I can see my lines. I'm going to go back to my pencil tool and do that. I could also use my brush tool for this. The brush tool and the pencil tool work pretty similarly, but I'm just going to go with my pencil tool, and then I can apply some different effects to this later on here. I want you guys to take your time on this. I'm going a little bit fast, but take your time and make your lines nice and clean here and closer to the lines that we're making. Okay. And this is all going to be one continuous line. I'm going to go back here like that. Okay. So what I can do is I can select all these lines. If I want to make them all a little bit thicker, I can change the uniform. So if I do that, that gives you a little bit of better idea of what those lines look like. Let me thicken that up so you can see. So see how some of the lines are thinner at the end and then thicker in the middle. That's what these profiles do. If I want to change some individually, I can. So maybe I want to, whoops, maybe I want to select some of these thicker lines. I can do that. I can change this profile. I can make this a little bit thicker. I'm going to grab one of my brushes here. So I'm going to go back to my brushes panel, and let's put, I don't like that one. You know, something like that. I could even apply like this one on here. But I think I'm just going to go with this brush and then make this a little bit smaller like that. Okay. I could also change the colors of these, so maybe I want kind of like a darker red for those petals, something like that. Okay. All right, and then the last one we're going to do is we're going to use the pen tool for this. I'm going to go around and make that line. Might be able to do this all in one go. Yeah. Okay. And then this last part, I'm going to make a circle. Let me select these lines here and make these a little bit thicker. I'm going to grab my circle. I want to make this circle go from the inside out. So I'm going to hold my Shift and my Alt key down, and that's going to have my circle go from the inside out. I'm going to swap this, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Select off of that. And actually what I should have done is made this part first. Like that. Okay?